Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Justin the Food Entrepreneur Show. I'm Justin Bizzarro. I'm your host. That's Bizzarro. For anyone who's out there, you can find us on Instagram at Justin the Food Entrepreneurs. You can find me personally at Justin Bizzarro on Instagram, TikTok at Justin Ryan Bizzarro on TikTok, but you can find me at Justin Bizzarro on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. And you can find Gorilla Brave on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook as we're recording this. And by the time this episode comes out, there will be a Gorilla Brave podcast that I am a part of as well, in addition to this, that takes sort of the conversation to the next level from here. So that'll all be out there for you guys. I appreciate everyone listening in, all the feedback, everything like that. You know, that's what this show is. It's to grow those out there. It's for the entrepreneurs. The audience is very specific. It is the world. It is spreading freedom and hope through entrepreneurialism, particularly food, because we all eat, our animals eat, we eat as humans. So it is essential that we have these conversations. It's an essential part of the human existence and our future, because we all need to eat. We can't just manufacture it out of nowhere and expect to somehow hack tens of thousands of years of things, of growth in food, nutrition, vitamins, things like that. So that's what we're trying to talk about here. We're trying to grow the audience as a whole. And for the main purpose of, guys, we have more influence and impact than any other humans on the planet as entrepreneurs, particularly in food. We source products. We have vendors, we have customers, we have employees. So think about the molding that we're doing in our community, in our environment, and through our businesses as we build. That's the ethos there of the podcast. It's the ethos of what we're trying to do in Gorilla Brave is grow that community, give the community support with one another in fellowship and in growth, and in helping everyone point in a similar direction while pointing their businesses in the directions they need to go. Why is that important? Because it builds industries. Why else is it important? Because it builds morals and ethics on a grander scale when we're all building them into our businesses. Okay, so I just want everyone to think about that impact and your role as a food entrepreneur well beyond just creating jobs, creating dreams big enough for your employees to live out their dreams. Not to mention changing your community or whatever dreams you have. There's also these other responsibilities that come with our gifts of being an entrepreneur. So with that being said, I have a special guest from us from California. I have Cheyenne Brown from Fun Diggity Funnel Cakes. How are you doing today, Cheyenne?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. I appreciate you coming on the show and taking time. I'm excited to hear about this. I have done some research. I've done some notes. We've talked a little bit at the warm up here, but I want to know about you. I want to know about why funnel cakes. So let's start at the beginning, Cheyenne. Have you always been, as a kid, in food or entrepreneurial? Let's talk about that. How was your journey? Where did it start?
Okay. So growing up, I've always enjoyed funnel cakes. I think I had like my first funnel cake experience when I was 10 years old at an amusement park. And what I've realized over the years, as you know, every interview I'm asked this question, is that my attachment to funnel cakes has truly been like so nostalgic for me, simply because I was one of those kids who would go to an amusement park and I didn't really care for the roller coaster or the rides. So I associated amusement parks and the fair with funnel cakes. I knew that when I go to an amusement park, that's going to be the one thing that I'm going to enjoy the most. And so growing up, and I'm from the city of Compton, within the inner city, I realized that funnel cakes just weren't that accessible to me as I got older. I was in college at the time, and I would love to treat myself to a funnel cake, whether it was like after exams and things like that. And I would find myself driving so far out of my community just to enjoy a funnel cake. Because again, normally, it's such a novelty treat. You normally can only find it seasonally at a fair, or you got to take a trip all the way to an amusement park. And so I decided to literally start at home on my stove, and I tried several different recipes until I came up with one that was perfect. And I introduced it to my mom, and she thought it was a great idea. And the community of the city of Compton and the whole surrounding city of Los Angeles has been supporting me. In business for 8 years now, and so the journey has really just took on a life of its own. That has really showed me that funnel cakes is an experience that everyone deserves to have. Something as simple as a funnel cake, but it's fun, it's nostalgic, and it brings joy and it brings people together. So that's kind of how I started.
I love it. Talk to me a little bit about your background in terms of, were you a chef before? Is cooking something you've done, or is it been very centered around funnel cakes?
Good question. So, no, I never was a chef. I do come from a family of cooks, though. So, my mom is a very good cook, always cooking on holidays and things like that. So, I grew up around a lot of great chefs, but it never was something I thought I was going to do. While in college, I was studying communications, which I did end up getting my degree in. But funnel cakes was simply just a passion. So, as a struggling college student, my creativity was buzzing, and I just kind of needed a little extra money, to pay for books and things like that. So it started off as just a passion and a pop-up shop from my home that kind of just took a mind of its own and turned me into a chef. Even been called the master of funnel cakes at this point. So I believe that the passion that I have for funnel cakes was truly just authentic. And so I took that and made funnel cakes better. And I think that's what any good entrepreneur does. There's already a million products and really nothing new under the sun. But what can you do to provide a need for your community? And what can you do to make something that already exists better? And I think that I've done that with funnel cakes by mastering the presentation, the texture, and the taste of funnel cakes, which are a few things that people struggle with, whether they dislike funnel cakes or something that they wish would be better when it comes to a funnel cake. So it really just can't, it happened out of passion. And I have to say, God just led me. He led me down this journey of entrepreneurship, but I did always, another part of my background is I was very heavily in community work. So I served as Miss Compton. I was a part of pageants growing up from like age 3 to 10. And then I stopped for a little while. And then I joined pageants again, and I won the Miss Compton pageant, where I basically represented the city of Compton on a bigger platform and was being a positive role model for the youth in my community. And through that community service, it let me know I wanted to be an entrepreneur and that I wanted to find a way that I can give back to my community, be involved more often, and also make some money.
Yeah, there you go. I Let's talk a little bit about packaging. Like, you talked about doing a pop-up. Let's talk about doing the pop-up. How did you get out in the community? How did you do the pop-ups? Did you do it all alone? Like, talk to me about building this brand, like those grassroots day one type of thing, like the things you look back on and they were hard, but they were the things that defined your brand.
Yes, definitely. So I will say that I am a self-taught entrepreneur. I didn't have any mentor or anything like that. So I kind of was on YouTube University and, just using the resources around me to try my best to kind of figure this thing out. So in 2016, I started alongside my mother. So we are family owned and operated. So my mom is really the backbone to what I do, but I'm kind of the face. But so in 2016, we started literally out of our home. So my mom's birthday falls on the 4th of July. So I thought that would be the perfect day. It's the 4th of July. Family is already coming over to celebrate. Let them try this funnel cake and give me their honest opinions. So I allowed, family and friends to give me their honest opinions about the funnel cake, what they thought about it. Everyone said it was good, really pumped up my confidence and things like that. So I literally started with what I had. I think that would be one of the main things that I remember the most is like being in that position where it's like, I want to look so professional. I want the bells and whistles, the nice tent set up canopy with my name everywhere. But I realized I had to just start with what I had. So I had family and friends donate. We already had some tables and chairs and things like that. So I literally started with what I had. and grew this business over the years. But the pop up shop came first because I needed to see, if people really wanted this funnel cake that I started cooking on my stove. And so some of the hard things we went through was just kind of adjusting to like prices, for example. We started with a very low price just to kind of get the word out there, but I don't really regret that because I think that it helped me kind of get the product out there and get my name known. So, like I said, we started as a pop up from our home, literally serving funnel cakes out of the side window of our house on a big major street. So, like, people would smell the funnel cake in the air. And that's how it went over a lot of my customers. And then we focused just on like social media. So, Instagram, for example, was the main platform we use, which, is free advertisement. And so, with word of mouth, the company just grew little by little. But starting a pop up was the best thing that I could have done. And also going to different community events, I had to learn a lot as well. For a long time, we were picking up this 500-pound fryer because we couldn't find the right railing to tote it onto a truck when we would go to like community events and stuff. I think that was one of the hardest things. And then another obstacle that I can remember so vividly was like I used tons of oil, right? Because when you make a funnel cake, it is deep fried in oil. And we would wait hours after event just for the oil to cool down so that we can leave the event. And now I've gotten better and we have different oil containers that we use where we can pour that oil in there hot and leave. So it's just little things like that that I find very interesting on the journey where it's like, wow, I remember when we was doing things like this and now we're doing them like this. So I think it's very humbling and also goes to show the growth in what I'm doing. And so yeah, that's pretty much some of the struggles that we had and plenty more. Oh boy. Like from the wind tearing up tents and all kind of also just being out in the elements all year round because one key thing about me that I really wanted to bring is being accessible all year, right? Because again, funnel cakes are only seasonal or you got to take a trip all the way to an amusement park or whatnot. And so being available yearly all year was one of the things I wanted to do. But again, I was a pop-up shop. So being out in the elements every season, that was intense as well.
When did you sort of start thinking this should be more than just a pop up? Like, let's talk about that because there is that point. I mean, 8 years is a journey, but you've built this brand and the catering into much more than just a pop up. So let's talk about
Yes.
that a little bit.
Yes, so Fun Diggity Funnel Cake Mix was born during the pandemic, actually. So what happened was COVID came, right? I'm already serving funnel cakes out of my home. Now I'm thinking, how am I going to keep my family safe? How am I going to keep my customers safe? And what am I going to do? And which ways am I going to pivot Fun Diggity in order to keep us to not only survive through the pandemic, but keep everybody safe? So that's when the idea kind of hit me and I'm like, wow, what if made a funnel cake mix so then families can make funnel cakes at home in the comfort of their homes? They'll be safe. It'll be a fun, hands-on experience that the kids will love, the parents will love, and it will further my mission of, the whole funnel cake experience and making it even more accessible. So yeah, Fun Diggity Funnel Cake Mix, which actually born through the pandemic. So in 2020, I started playing through the idea a little bit, looking for manufacturers and things like that that can help me bring this to life. And then by 2022 is when we actually launched Fun Diggity Funnel Cake Mix for the world to have and all of my customers to enjoy. So that's kind of how the birth of Fun Diggity Funnel Cake Mix came about. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about this a little bit more in detail.
hmm
Co-packing, I assume you use a co-packer, but I'm not positive. Maybe you pack yourself. But talk to me about packaging, finding the ingredients that you needed for this on this scale, designing the packaging, distribution, all of those things. Let's talk about those steps.
Yes. Okay. So I think the hardest part was definitely manufacturing. It's not much out there. Again, I am a self-taught entrepreneur at this point. So everything I've learned and adapted to, I've literally just searched. I've had that grit to just go out there and learn, research, do what I need to do, ask questions, try to find the right people. So the manufacturing part was the most difficult. I found a few different places that I was, going. I allowed them to help me create a recipe, I should say, for co-packing a lot of them just weren't what I was looking for because the product that I already have that I am using at the pop-up shop was already so pristine and like great that I really wanted the quality to hold up when it came to my funnel cake mix. I didn't want it to be totally different. So I ended up finding a very good manufacturer, which is also woman owned. So I'm really proud to also be working with a woman owned manufacturer. So once I found them, I think the best part and the most fun that I had would have to be with the packaging and designing it and from scratch. The picture on our funnel cake mix bag is an actual picture of our funnel cake. So it's not like a clip art or anything like that. It's the actual funnel cake. So I'm really proud of that because oftentimes I would see people when it comes to other funnel cake brands and things like that, they always use clip art and you can never get like a realistic looking funnel cake on anything. And I was like, wow, like all of this clip art is like, it's not doing it for me. So I really
Yeah.
wanted something that was authentic and that looked like a real traditional funnel cake and didn't just look like spaghetti on a plate. You know what I mean? And so designing the packaging was the most fun for me. I did everything from hiring the photographer to come out and take pictures of my actual funnel cake to coming up with the colors and the fonts, which was already kind of our colorway, and working with a designer that I met through the manufacturer. So it was kind of like all in house for me. Like it was kind of their inner circle of designers that they already had. So I was definitely happy to find that. But yeah, I think the packaging was the most fun that I had with designing the bag and things like that, putting our little sayings on it in special places, like underneath the bottom of our bag. It says, have a fun diggity day, which is one of our sayings. So it's just like those cute and very unique little, gestures and things that I've done that like just really make it me and who I am as well. And so, yes, the packaging. And then what else did you ask? You said the packaging, the manufacturer.
Oh, and then I don't remember exactly, but if I think about it, I'll say it. But I think you had to go through all the ingredients, supplying them because it is different. I think that's what the
Yes.
last part was.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So with the ingredients, yes, we did change quite a bit of things. So, as you know, like certain mixes and things like that will have like fructose corn syrup. I know I did not want my funnel cake mix to have anything like that in it. So our funnel cake mix doesn't have anything like that in it. It's not the healthiest, don't get me wrong, but it's only 100 calories, so we got it down as much as we could. I really wanted it to be kind of like a snack. It also depends on what you put on top, right? So keeping that in mind, a lot of people may say like, "Oh, a funnel cake isn't healthy," but in moderation and with the right toppings, some strawberries, some cinnamon on there, it's delicious and it can be a well balanced little snack. So those are some things that I focused on, and also just making sure that the kind of flavor that I wanted would pop out. So having enough vanilla in there, things like that. And then also how much oil I wanted the batter to use because I've tested my competition and other funnel cake mixes that do exist. And I realized that a lot of them were holding a lot of oil during cooking and they weren't as what's the word I'm looking fluffy. Like it wasn't fluffy, it was getting held down by the oil and just absorbing so much oil. So one thing about our funnel cakes is they stay crispy on the outside and moist on the inside. It doesn't hold a lot of oil. So that's what I meant by like the texture and the things that we're changing about funnel cakes to make it a little bit better than what was already out here. And so those are some of the things that we did when it comes to the mix.
I love it. I've got a few things I'm going to say. I'm like all over the place, but I want to emphasize one thing. It's healthier when there isn't all the nasty ingredients in it. I think that that's important. We should make note of that. Like there
Yes.
things are moderation. I agree. That's valid, 100%. And but also the thing that I think is major about your product, and one of the things that definitely caught my attention as I did the research, is how clean the label is in terms of not having all the artificial garbage in it. It is what it's supposed to taste like, and it has the right ingredients in it to extend what needs to be extended, and it turns out a good product. And I'll get into one of the things I think about funnel cake, and one of the reasons that this is on my radar and something that's in my own life no different than waffles have become uber successful when paired with something. But one of the things I want to emphasize also is, yeah, I've got notes here in my notes. Anyone who knows me personally knows I'm very thorough in my note taking.
Mhm.
But West Coast funnel cake queen, where does this go? One of the things I think is anyone who's out there, and I'm going to plant a seed, is if you're in a commercial environment, you're looking for a cleaner version of what's going on from your suppliers, and you do funnel cakes and you don't want to make it from scratch yourself by mixing your own ingredients, but you want to add funnel cake because it is, I'm going to emphasize this, a growing brand, a growing product, a growing something that's going to be brought into the world as a whole on a greater scale. I'm talking about like funnel fried chicken sandwiches or funnel fried pork sandwiches. There are things that where we do the same. Waffles have set this standard, or pancakes when there were McGriddles at McDonald's. That funnel cake is starting to get that same type of buzz and that experimentation going on in the market. So why I'm trying to connect a piece here also for Cheyenne and the audience, which is this is a clean version. It's out there. It's going on the shelf. It might be time for everyone to say, hey, I like this. I want to explore this menu item. I'm even going to talk about it in one of the Gorilla Brave blogs and posts about funnel cakes being an opportunity. This is someone who's already done all the work and all the research and has a clean product, hasn't shortened it, takes pride in it, in her community, takes pride in her brand. This would be the person to align yourself with, guys. And I'm coming to that earlier than normal. I would leave that to the end, but I want to emphasize as we're talking about this, I also want to emphasize obsession. Okay. There's obsession over things that turn into good. Okay. And there's things that are not really obsessions. They're sort of just, we temporarily care about them. Okay. Let me define the proper way that obsessions are used. We just talked about funnel cake. Okay. It's something that won't leave you alone. And it's also something that you can grow the world around you with. That's a proper obsession. Not all obsessions are bad obsessions. Some of them are instilled inside of us. Okay. And the point of them, and we don't need to just push them off as a hobby or a thing, or I'm not an entrepreneur or whatever. It does not matter. Focus on the gift that's been given now. You can learn to be an entrepreneur. Is it given to some? Yes. Is it learned by others? Yes. We just talked about it. Focus on the gift. Focus on what's in front of you. Focus on the vehicle or the tool that you're being called to use, and then get on top of the mountaintops and scream it at the top of your lungs what you're doing. Okay, that's what we're seeing here. This a good, clean product, wholesomely built, community-based, supporting other women, supporting her community, supporting up and down her chain vertically and horizontally. Okay, so big emphasis there, guys. Questions. I have a question. You ready? And I'm going to steer us in a direction, and then we'll sort of zig back to where we were. Flavors. Like, is it like, because I don't know much about funnel cake other than that when I was in the fried chicken business and we had a lot of fried chicken trailers to complement us doing a lot of distribution of fried chicken products for people and franchises to do fried chicken. I'll put it that way. I was in the logistics business also. Mm-hmm. We had funnel cakes was something we would throw in when we do but they were frozen and they were like sticks. So they were not very good. Let's be honest. I'm going to be totally honest with everyone. But I got a lot of requests for different flavors of funnel cakes during that time where we were trying to make this. We didn't even make them from scratch. How was I ever going to give them a flavor other than adding a topping? So I get it. The topping is the flavor, no different than grill the chicken and allow all the different sauces to be all the different flavor profiles. But let's talk about that. Have you thought about different flavors coming in the package? Has there been okay, I'm going to do a birthday cake funnel cake or a birthday funnel cake or whatever flavor, just out of curiosity?
Yes. So we currently at the pop-up offer a red velvet funnel cake. So I would love to package that and have, because it is very popular. So I would love to have that as a second retail product as well. I would love to absolutely have a red velvet funnel cake mix batter so that people can whip that up as well. But currently, right now, I do not offer that, but that's definitely something that we would love to expand into is more flavors. Also, I want to mention that our funnel cake batter isn't just for funnel cakes. So you can make deep fried cookies with it, like deep fried Oreos, which we also serve. You could pretty much deep fry anything, kind of like you brung up the different flavors and things that people do with funnel cakes and how it's kind of in us already. So I have customers who tag me in videos all the time where they're making some crazy creations with the funnel cake batter that's not just the funnel cake. So I do want to emphasize that as well. You can pretty much deep fry anything from pickles, Twinkies, all the crazy fair treats and more with the funnel cake batter that we already have, but I do want to expand to more flavors outside of just toppings.
Yeah, and one of the things I want to talk about this a little bit, and I think this is important, and I'm just going to give this to everyone. You mentioned transporting after frying. Anyone who gets into the food truck or the food trailer game, I know you're trying to leverage into a cheaper game, but as you grow in your game, if you don't want to have to worry about your oils all the time, yes, you can lock them up in the truck, but pressure frying speeds up your cook time, and the pressure fryer has an automatic lid on it that closes and seals. Are they way more expensive? Yes. However, they speed up your time and they keep your oil fresher longer because in pressure frying, there's less seepage of the oil into the product. And the other thing is it's easier to transport in a truck or trailer movie. You just seal it up even if it's hot and you're on the road. And I know your situation's different, but I just wanted to give that to the audience. I liked round fryer. It equally heats. I don't like the square ones. That's just me. All my years of experience. At Colorquip, we did sell a lot of equipment. We did build a lot of restaurants. We did design a lot of restaurants, food facilities, catering halls, elk lodges, whatever you name it, bars. But I think from my standpoint, one of the things I learned in all the testing and all the experiences, round is better. The best companies cost a lot more. You want to aim to get to that level and bring your product or your food truck or whatever onto that. And it's okay to upgrade once you get there, and they come in different sizes. Broaster is one I used. It's probably the most expensive that I know of, but it is the highest quality. But there are others out there, guys. Broaster also does chicken, but they make fryers. They're a manufacturer also for the reason that there was nothing better way of making their chicken. So I just wanted to emphasize that. Let's talk about 8 years of growth, staying steady and steadfast in your journey, growing this business. Obviously, you've pivoted. You had COVID to deal with. You're still doing pop-ups. You're trying to build catering within that. Also building a consumer packaged good product, trying to get on the shelves. So I think, before we dive into how you got on the shelves or how you're doing the catering, I think let's focus on what kept you going, the ups, the downs, the hard times. Who are your mentors? Who are sort of the people that are your support system or that you've looked up to maybe online or through podcasts? I don't know where. But sort of what is it because 8 years is a long time, and it
Yeah.
takes a lot to stay steadfast that long.
It does. It really does. I think that's something that we don't talk about enough. So I would have to say through the ups and downs in this entire journey, because I think again, we don't talk about it as much, but I had plenty of times where I felt like I wanted to give up, right? I felt like things were it was too much, or I couldn't handle something, or everything was going wrong and then everything was going right. So I think really what has helped maintain me in this industry in general, from surviving the pandemic to pivoting to being in this industry for this long, is really number one, God. I have to say that. My family, they definitely support me in what I do from day one. I mean, they constantly encourage me and pull me out from the bottom if I ever go too low. And, always willing to help me at events and things like that. And then third, I would have to say my community. If it wasn't for my community where I decided to start this in the city of Compton, I don't know if I would truly still be doing it because I just again realized like how inaccessible funnel cakes were to the inner city. And my customers tell me all the time how much they appreciate me being here. So they don't have to drive over 30 miles outside of their community. It becomes expensive too. That's gas, travel. You got to wait in a long line. So I'm solving all of these problems for the inner city. So it just makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm giving back. So I think that's what drives me. And also the youth in my community and so many other entrepreneurs that I've inspired along the way who tell me you're doing a good job, or I started a business because of you, or I've been watching your journey since you first started. And so those are the things that really keep me going. It's just knowing that I'm being a positive pillar in my community and also a positive role model for the next generation to come, to let them know, yes, no matter where you come from or your circumstances, you can do anything that you put your mind to, and you can start with what you have. And if you apply yourself and are willing to do the work and to learn and never stop learning, that you can accomplish things. And so they've really been able to see my journey from just a pop up shop to now having a retail product to being in stores. So I think that is the true blessing and the gift that growing and creating Fun Diggity has given me, to be able to get through the struggles and things like that. But when I did have those moments where I would hit rock bottom, I'm telling you, I would just cry. Sometimes you got to just let it out, get it out, reflect, be able to pivot when you have to, make those hard decisions. So I've learned so much, and I believe that I've become more wise over the years. I started this business, like I said, while I was a college student at 24 years old. Now I'm 31. So I've grown so much just and matured as a woman in general. And I have to thank entrepreneurship for that. Definitely.
Love it. Let's talk about building a consumer packaged good product. You've got the manufacturing done. You've designed the package. We talked about ingredients and sourcing and the
Hmm.
cleanliness. Now you've got to go get people to buy it, for lack of
Ooh,
a better term. You've got to
yeah,
maybe hopefully get maybe some grocery stores or some stores to carry it. Then you're hoping
yeah.
that they sell it. Talk to me about building that, because you're building a multiple pillar business also in catering, consumer packaged goods,
Yeah.
and pop-ups, because pop-ups could be a market, it could be here or there, and catering's a functioning event where you're going to get paid a certain amount. You're producing their different models, guys, that operate
Hmm.
inside a business. So let's talk about building this consumer packaged good pillar
Okay.
within
Yes.
your business.
All right. So what I will have to say first is, coming from the pop-up, that was all I knew, right? So having to adjust to what it's gonna take in order to build a retail product was very different for me. It was a huge learning curve, I will say that. So after the packaging and things like that, and like you said, now it's time to sell this. What am I gonna do? What is my website gonna look like? What is it gonna embody? What is the message? Because again, like you said, these are different sectors of business, right? So my audience for the hot and fresh funnel cakes is slightly different from my audience for the funnel cake mix, right? So all of these different adjustments and things that I had to make and figure out along the way. So when it came down to my website, the way I was going to market that and what that was going to look like, when it came down to creating my line sheet for different retailers and grocery brands that were potentially going to buy wholesale from me, coming up with the pricing for wholesale to make sure that, I'm getting a good percentage out of from the manufacturer, from that the profit is margin is making sense. So all of those were the biggest curveballs for sure, because I had no idea. It just was like, "Ooh, I want to make a funnel cake mix. I know this funnel cake mix will do good. People at home right now, they want to come out and buy a hot funnel cake from me, but they can't. So the next best thing is a funnel cake mix." So it was all of those learning curves. So throughout the journey, I think I took my time for sure. And then I did have to lean into certain mentors. I was able to be a part of a program out here in Los Angeles. Actually, I want to give them a quick shout out called Grid 110. It's basically an organization that helps specifically Black and Brown entrepreneurs in order to give them grant money in order to expand their brands. So I was able to be a part of that cohort, and During that time, I learned so much about marketing, about my target audience, about line sheets, what should be on a line sheet. So during that journey, I think it was just a lot of cold calls, is what they call it, right? So a lot of cold calls and emails and things like that, and really figuring out the right technique to approach different vendors or grocery stores and things like that, the type of insurances that I would need. Oh, it's so much that went into it. So I think the main thing, like I said, would definitely be like the line sheet and really being prepared when I would step into these meetings in order to try to say, hey, you guys need this Fun Diggity Funnel Cake mix on your shelves, and here's the reason why, here's the price, and things like that. So I think that was the biggest struggle that I had throughout it all. But once I figured that out, I think it's been a little bit more smooth selling because now I can just send them, email them my line sheet, and then they can look at everything and get back to me. I can do follow-ups and things like that. So the process has gotten a lot easier, and I am happy to say that the few retailers and grocery stores that we are in have sold out of every single grocery store we in have sold out and has continued to sell out, which so for the past 2 going on 3 years I've been consistently in these markets. So I'm very thankful for that, and that just lets me know that I have the potential to be in even more stores all across the US and nationally, internationally as well. So that's something that I'm growing towards and wanting to do.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, let's talk about the catering versus pop-ups because there's a difference there. You take on an event, someone wants funnel cake bar at their wedding, for
Yes,
example. Let's talk about building that business because that's a different type of relationship. That's directly with the consumer versus business to business, as we just discussed in CPG. So what we talked about earlier about pillars, what we're talking about here is business to business, which gets her access to the business's customer she's doing business with, but also business to customer if we're going to use business terms. So I think that's important. So let's talk now your business to customer directly and a very specific customer, those seeking events or parties or whatever.
yes.
So
So catering is so fun. That's the first thing I have to say. I've met so many incredible people and been able to experience things I never would have experienced without having the opportunity through my customers to come to their wedding, to come to their birthday parties, baby showers, birthday parties, the whole nine. And so with that, the structure for that is fun because our menu is customizable. So again, we have this whole mission of making funnel cakes accessible. So how cool is it to be able to rent a funnel cake caterer that can come make you hot and fresh funnel cakes right in your face? You can watch the entire process, see it be decorated, and just have this huge smile on your face. So first and foremost, that gives me the most satisfaction every time. But I think that when it comes to my audience for catering, again, that niche is different as well. So I really feel like I have about 3 different audiences, but they all love funnel cakes. So the audience for the pop up and then the audience for catering is slightly different because my customers that order or book me for events or catering or whatever the case may be, from corporate events, you name it, we do it all. They really are looking for that experience, right? They want that hands-on experience where they can see how is a funnel cake made. They can see the oil. They see me making the mix on site. They see us with all the fresh ingredients. They watch us decorate the funnel cakes. So it's the experience really that's selling. And so we have a customizable menu, like I mentioned. So customers are able to customize their menu for whatever they want. So they can have 1 topping or 5 toppings. So it just really depends on the customer. But catering is the most fun that I have because I get to get out of my regular routine, right? My regular pop up or my regular just going to deliver mix at a retailer, and I get to get out of my comfort zone and travel. We travel all throughout Los Angeles and stuff like that. So I get to get out, I get to meet new people and things like that. So catering is really one of the most fun that I have on the job, definitely. What other question did you want me to answer about catering? Did you want me to get into like
now, how do
pricing
you
or
manage
anything or?
relationships? Let's talk about because you're good at building relationships. I think across the board. I didn't directly ask this, but I think I hinted at it, which is the business to business, the business to customer. All of them are managing relationships. So let's talk
Yes.
about that.
All right. So with managing relationships, first and foremost, you got to have good customer service, right? We all know this, food entrepreneurs, right? We have to have good customer service. And one thing about me, I'm already a lover of people. So it's really easy for me to, and plus I love what I do. So when you love what you do, it's easy to have good customer service. And that's what really keeps the customers coming back. Also a good quality product, right? Good customer service with a good quality product. So I have tons, especially like corporate events that I do yearly, like Guess Jeans. I'm one of the main dessert vendors for Guess Jeans. We have a huge partnership together. They reach out to me for all of their corporate events. I've worked with TDE with Kendrick Lamar. Everyone knows the rapper Kendrick Lamar. He's from the city of Compton. So I've been able to do different community events. He throws a huge concert for free within the city during like Christmas time. And so I make funnel cakes for all the kids within that community. So it's just different partnerships that I've been able to maintain with people and build these relationships over the year. And I'm so thankful for it because it lets me know that I'm doing something right. You know, sometimes we can get in the groove of things and constantly be doing the same thing over and over and over again. So it is kind of good when somebody reaches back out like, hey, we need you again for this event. It feels really good to know that I'm doing something right and that people truly want me to continue to cater their events and want me to come out. So that's definitely a big part of it as well, is making sure that you build those good connections and relationships and that you maintain them as well. Reach out to them, offer discounts. I do that as well during different seasons and times like that. So there's a lot of different things that I do. I also offer like rewards card. So the more that you book with me, you eventually will get a free service. So I do offer things like that, which is kind of the touch on like what some businesses may do when it comes to like their in store. But try that for catering. I think it's really unique and it has worked out for me as well. So these are some of the things that I do in order to build those relationships and also working with brands that align with me. Right. I want to work with a lot of the people who book me, like regular everyday people. They're very family oriented. You know, they're just like me. And then when it comes to these businesses and different companies I work with, I feel like a lot of their missions align with me and what I'm trying to do. And sometimes I'll go to an event like a logistics. This is one logistics company I work with from time to time. And I'm like, wow, I want to be like this. I love the culture they've created within their employees and how they give back to their employees often and throw them these kind of I appreciate you events where they'll have everything from games to food. And I'm like, wow, this is like, I'm learning from them as well. Like, this is something that I want to do. And this is the kind of company that I want to run in the future when I get 100+ employees. You know what I mean? So I think it's a equal, it's reciprocated. Everything is reciprocated. I'm learning from them. They're learning from me. I'm giving a service to them and they don't know how much they are giving to me just by allowing me to be in these spaces, you know, because that's really what we want as entrepreneurs and small businesses is to be in spaces that we know we can be in, but also to be in spaces that are truly going to appreciate the service that we're bringing.
Amazing. I love it. Talk to me about growth, things that you feel you've grown the most in since you started this over the last 8 years, things that have sort of become your superpower.
Ooh, that's a good question. I would have to say overthinking. I've stopped overthinking. That was the biggest thing for me. And one of the things that I've been working so hard to conquer because for so much, because I'm so passionate about what I want, what I'm doing, I be wanting everything to kind of be perfect. And we know perfection doesn't exist, but I do have a standard for myself. And so a lot of the times when things would go wrong, I would overthink it. So now I've learned to just take a step back, you know, really be a CEO and a boss, you know what I mean? And just kind of take a step back and come up with a solution instead of focusing so much on the problem. For the beginning, last say probably the first probably 3 to 5 years of my company, I was doing way too much overthinking. And I think that not only hindered what I was able to do, but it hindered my mentality and my confidence. So once I stopped overthinking, that was something that really has changed the game. Also, with growth, I would have to say, I'm just so proud of myself for sticking to something for 8 years. Like I said, I started this pretty young. So this has really been the only true, I've only had like a few jobs in my life. So this has been the only job that I have been consistent with since, starting my adult working life, if that makes sense. So it truly amazes me that I've been able to stick to this and we're almost a decade in. And I just know that I'm going to be here for the long run, and that's really what I want to do and be and provide for even more people, families everywhere. It's going from just my community to everywhere. And I think that that truly shows my growth as well. And then if I can give you one more, I would say just the growth of my mix so far. I know that Fun Diggity Funnel Cake mix can be way bigger and I probably can be farther, but I'm enjoying the journey and allowing it to play out the way it's going to play out instead of trying to force it or looking too much up to the Joneses and what other people are doing. I'm just kind of staying in my own lane, focusing on that and mastering it. So once I really truly started to master who I am, who my brand is, what we represent, that's when the most growth happens.
Amazing. Talk to me about vision of the future. Actually, let me back up a second. I have a different question. Talk to me about the relationship in business with your mom because you guys are partners. So, talk to me about that dynamic, the growth of that relationship because it is a different dynamic than just mother daughter, right? Let's talk a
Correct.
little bit about that.
That is a good question. I get asked this all the time, and I think that's also another negative stereotype that I'm trying to debunk is that families can't work together, or the whole saying that you shouldn't work with your family, right? Because me and my mom, we have a great relationship, and sometimes we do bump heads a little bit, but for the most part, we are the best duo ever. My mom is a marketing genius, for one, and she is really old school. So she'll get in these streets. And my mom, I get it from my mom when it comes to like being a people person. I've seen her in a community all my life. So my mom is already like really down to earth and knows so many people. Like I get a lot of resources because just who my mom is, because of the people she's helped throughout her life before I was even born, or the relationships that she's built. So I feel like putting those two together has just made the perfect combination. And I couldn't see myself having another business partner. My mom is truly the backbone of Fun Diggity. She believed in it before I did. She invested in it when I was just a broke college student and didn't have any money. She bought me my first fryer. She's fully invested her time, dedication, and help into helping me hone in on my passion and to create something that is going to create legacy for our family, at the end of the day. And I think I just kind of want to debunk that whole myth of families can't work together. That is truly a thing that I want people to revisit. It's like, do you have people in your circle who are good at things that you're not? Try to bring them in because it could truly make the difference. And I think that if we focus more on what we have and who we have around us instead of always looking out to the open, even though that's good too, right? We need investors, we need all of these things, but sometimes it can be the people around you. That's why we have bootstrapping. It's the family and friends who are going to see the vision and support you first. So I'm just very glad to have my mom on this journey with me and to do this with her. We've created so many great memories together. We go to all the events together. So again, it's just helping us create more memories together and to stay tight knitted as a family. So it kind of interesting that my whole idea is to bring families closer together with Fun Diggity Funnel Cake Mix, but at the same time, it's helping me bring my family closer together as well. So that's truly a blessing.
Amazing. Now let's talk about where does this go? Because I think it's important to anchor that there's two of you in this dream. And I think that what you guys done, you taken your obsession, turned it into a business, turned it into a pillar in the community, built different avenues of business to stabilize your foundation as you grow every part of your business. Where are you hoping this go? Where do you want it to go? Talk to me about that. Brick and mortars in the future, catering, you know, we talked about new flavors. Let's talk about all of this as a whole.
Yes. So one thing about me is I dream big, Justin. I dream really, really big. There's never been a moment or a time in me where I did not dream big. So for Fun Diggity, I see so many things. And for any food entrepreneurs out there, just keep this in mind. Follow me on my journey because I do want to franchise in the future. My goal is to franchise within the next 2 to 3 years, possibly. Also want to have a brick and mortar location in the city of Compton because this is where I started and I truly want to give back to my community and provide them with something that they did not have long term because there's not a lot for kids and parents to do that's safe. So we kind of provide a safe haven from our home now, but I want it to be on a bigger scale. I want to have a drive-through, a funnel cake restaurant with a drive-through. How cool would that be? So I definitely want to expand to a brick and mortar. I want a franchise. And as far as the funnel cake mix, I want to be in most or all of the major retailers to come. We are already, of course, selling on our website and things like that, and we are in a few grocery stores. But I see Fun Diggity Funnel Cake Mix on a huge scale. I see me having collaborations with places like IHOP. You know, like you mentioned too, like how waffles and pancakes have already kind of made it like this thing where we're used to having like chicken and waffles and things like that, and all these very cool and fun food combinations. I can definitely see me having like a collab with a major breakfast place like Denny's or IHOP where they're using Fun Diggity funnel cake mix and a funnel cake is on their menu. I also can see me being in resorts. My ultimate goal as well is to expand into the resort world. I would love to have funnel cakes at resorts. So you go to an all-inclusive resort in Mexico. Imagine you're on the beach and you're able to have a Fun Diggity funnel cake. So these are some of the things and the goals that I have for myself. Jamaica, I would love for funnel cakes to be available in Jamaica at the resorts and things like that. I think it's just going to be a unique way and also to kind of establish funnel cakes on a bigger scale, similar to what you talked about, to where it is more accessible and you're not just used to it being at a fair or an amusement park. Imagine you can go pretty much anywhere and get a funnel cake. And then also, I want to get into the frozen section. So, some people, they may not be that much of a cook, right? This generation is cooking a little bit less. So, I want to have funnel cakes that you can just pop into the air fryer and reheat and add your toppings. So, that's something else that I would love to do. And then flavors. I want to expand to a red velvet funnel cake mix. Also, other different things like I mentioned, the funnel cake mix is versatile, so you can use it for other sweet creations, but maybe even having my own deep fried Oreo specific mix as well, just to kind of take over the whole novelty treat industry. That's kind of what I'm here to do. I'm here to disrupt it all.
Love it. Anything that we didn't talk about that you want to talk about? Anything that I
um,
didn't mention that maybe you thought that you wanted to conversate about before when you were leading up to this?
I would just like to say a little bit about the mix, I guess, because I do understand that, or what I'm realizing, especially with growing the funnel cake mix, the retail product, is that some people are a little bit intimidated. They'll rather just come to me and get a hot and fresh funnel cake and let me make it for them. But I want them to know we have an easy 3-step process that I've created, which is on our website on a tutorial where we have this saying you draw a star, a circle, and fill in the gaps to create perfect funnel cakes in minutes. So you can make a funnel cake in under 10 minutes. It's just as easy as making a pancake. And I just want people to know that funnel it's more than just a funnel cake. It's an experience that the whole family can enjoy. And we're here for you. We're here to just make your day fun, diggity, and to be a fun and hands-on experience for you and the family. So whenever you have a little sweet craving or you want a funnel cake, you can skip that wait, the travel, and the hassle and enjoy Fun Diggity Funnel Cake Mix right at home.
That's awesome. Last question for you. The marketing, advertising, social media, we talked about grassroots. We talked about the way you've built your brand. I'm going to ask you to just let everyone know where they can find you on social media and they can find you online before you totally answer this question. But talk to me about building that online presence because it has been 8 years, but you can see that you over time really started getting a grasp on how to portray or deliver your message and deliver your brand to an online audience and build the following that you have on there as well. Can we talk about that?
Yeah. So what I'll have to say, and I think this has been an advantage, I think just with social media in general and starting the business so young, I grew up on social media, right? So it was something I was already doing. So to be able to create a business page and start from scratch, I had to first identify my story. What message, like you said, what message am I trying to spread and get across? And also, what is my story? Like, why did I really start this? And how did it all come about? Because you'll get asked that so much. So I think having a true understanding of my story truly helped. And then also word of mouth. So majority of my brand, surprisingly, and I really do want to stress this and mention this, is that for the first, I'll say 6 years, I never ran an ad. A matter of fact, ads weren't even existing in 2016 when I first started. So ads weren't even a thing. So I've truly built organically through word of mouth and people just following me through social media, seeing me, hearing about me through customers. So my entire brand is very authentic and organic. And I really have to thank social media for that because without Instagram, my brand would be nothing. I literally would post when I was open. I would make a video. Hey guys, we're open today from 3 to blah blah blah, and here's what's on the menu. So I would make these videos, and it started making me realize that I am the face of my brand. So I think that's another big thing that I would like to mention. I think a lot of us like to hide behind the brand, but sometimes you have to be a little bit more open and let people get in on you because at the end of the day, yes, they may love your product, but they're supporting the brand because of you. And so once I realized that, I just started showing my face more, being more transparent, letting them in on the good, the bad, letting them know when things are going bad, when the fryer stops working and I can't open for the day or whatever little issues I was going through. I started to really just let them know I'm human, but I'm going to make it work. I'm going to make it happen. Nothing's going to stop me. This may be a setback, but we will get through this. And so I think just showing that transparency has really made a difference too when it came to social media. So my following is extremely organic. And then even when it comes down to like Yelp reviews, I think Yelp has been also another free platform that has really helped my business tremendously. A lot of businesses can't say that they've been 5 stars for 5+ years. So being able to get all of these amazing reviews and people talk about the product and the customer service, these little things really help. And I don't think that word of mouth is dead just yet. Yes, ads are beautiful and they can help you expand and reach more people, but that organic following is truly what's going to carry you through. And I think that's the reason why I've been here for 8 years is because the word of mouth and people just sharing and reposting, posting their funnel cakes on their social media platforms and things like that. And so, yeah, social media has definitely been a blessing to have something that's free and to be able to reach different people from all over the world in all walks of life has truly been amazing. And when it comes down to where you guys can find me, we are on all of the platforms. Fun Diggity Funnel Cakes, and on Instagram is F as in Frank and D as in dog FD Funnel Cakes, just short for Fun Diggity. We're on Facebook. You can also purchase and visit our website to see how funnel cakes are made. We have a hands-on tutorial where you can follow along with me, and you can visit www.fundiggity.com. And if you are interested in working with me and adding funnel cakes to your menu, or you have a small store or anything like that where you think that my product would do good, you can also email us at fundiggitymix@gmail.com and we can send you over all of our information for wholesaling. And Justin, I just want to say as well that I truly appreciate you and what you do. I think that this platform is amazing. And thank you for giving us a voice and being able to come together and talk about different things, experiences, struggles, and everything like that that we are going through because it's truly needed. And so I just want to say I appreciate you as well.
Normally, I do the closing thoughts,
I'm sorry.
but as audience may or may not tell, I'm weirdly still dealing with a sinus issue. So I'm going to have you do it. Cheyenne, I'm going to have you talk about leadership. You're a leader in your community. You know a lot about core values and morals and ethics. Talk to me about what it is, because in stepping out the way you have and being a leader, you obviously are now knowing that other people are going to mimic what you're doing, and that could be costly or positive. So I'm going
Yeah.
to let you talk about leadership and the leader you've become.
Wow, that is such a good question. So leadership is very important because for one, Okay, let me just start with this. Growing up is something that's in you because growing up as a child, even in school, teachers would always see the leader in me. So I want to start there. So sometimes before I even knew I was a leader, other people would see it in me. And I would be like, "Man, why they always choosing me for this or that?" But once you really hone into that you're a leader and you have the influence to inspire someone else, that is truly a gift. You know, we have these gifts as entrepreneurs, whatever that gift is that you have, but being a leader comes with a little bit more responsibility. You know, you want to make sure that you are setting a positive example, that you have integrity. You know, I want to be a brand that has integrity. I also like to show people how disciplined I am. I think that is a great leadership quality to have, is to be disciplined. For me to stick to this for 8 years as a young college student, I could have easily said, nope, I'm done with that passion. Let me move on to something else. But to stick to something and be disciplined truly shows who you are as a leader. So the type of leader that I try to be is just one that has integrity, discipline, and and just encourages and inspires, because before I leave this world, that's one thing I definitely want to do, is inspire the world, and especially the youth and the younger generation, because they are the future and I don't have kids yet. So I feel like I need to be the best leader I can be for my nieces and nephews, so then when I do bring kids into this world, they too will be leaders. So I think it's just equal give and take of you being a leader and being able to inspire the next generation so that we can have more leaders in the world. Because social media and everything will have you thinking all these follows and this and that, but having followers definitely comes with responsibility. So one thing I would just have to say is that my goal is to be a leader not only in my community but for the world, and to represent not only as a black woman but also just as somebody who's just like you, right? I'm no different than anyone else, and I think that when you have a dream and you stick to it and you spread positivity and you truly believe in what you're doing, other people will too. So my advice is just go out there, be a great leader, keep your circle tight, keep your circle tight, and make sure that you have people around you that believe in your vision, and that's really the ultimate success. That's what I would have to say.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you, everyone, for listening in. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Let everyone know one more time where they can find you on social media.
Okay, so we are on Instagram at FD Funnel Cakes. We're on Facebook, Fun Diggity Funnel Cakes. You can find us on our website at www.fundiggity.com. And if you're interested in anything when it comes to wholesaling or the mix, you can email us fundiggitymix@gmail.com.
Awesome. Love you guys. I appreciate everyone in the audience. Guys, you can find us at gorillabrave.love if you're interested in that. There is a blog there now. Again, transcripts are on both iTunes, Apple Podcasts, as well as Podbean. You can find the transcripts for every episode on there, so you can go through the notes, find all the carrots, if you will, all the juicy fruit. That should be the fruit of the spirit, I hope, in your businesses. Leads to growth. That's the plan. That's why we're doing this. That's why the entrepreneurs come on here. Give hope. Guys, you're not alone. There is fellowship out there. So thank you, everyone. Continue to like, share, pass on the episodes. That helps the entrepreneurs. Find them on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Like, share their videos, their products. If they're an online brand and they can be available online, order the funnel cakes, guys. It's that simple. Try the product, and I guarantee you, if you try some things we're talking about, deep frying things with the funnel cake batter, it's a big deal. Or making sandwiches from funnel cakes, or taking things like that and upscaling the availability, or adding something new and fun to your menu. Well, we know someone that has a commercially proven product. So, love you guys. I appreciate you guys, and we're out.